There's some skills they teach you in preschool, and if you can get them right for the rest of your life, you're going to be very successful. And one is getting along well with others, collaboration. And that is what the Panthers coach has done incredibly well this season. I know there's been some potential lapses in communication with the quarterback, but I think a lot of the upside you've seen on the defense has been the birth child of Ejiro Evero and Dave Canales putting their differences aside, mending their relationship that was awkward at times, especially towards the end of 2024, and even going into 2024, when the Panthers' defensive coordinator was literally called a head coach, the head coach of the defense. You're going to be our head coach of the defense. Well, what happens when we actually hire the head coach? That doesn't work. You can't date two people at the same time. You're my wife, but you're my wife of, what happens outside of the home. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, in real life. But Canales has mended that relationship. The birth child of that has been guys like Mike Jackson, Trevin Wallace, Chau Smith-Wade, the unspoken, unsung heroes of this defense that aren't making headlines. Jaycee Horn, Derrick Brown. Jaycee Horn, I think, as of now, is first in Pro Bowl voting. Deservedly so. He has won you games. You can look at that New York Jets game. Jaycee Horn, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. One with one hand. Tyrod Taylor knocking on the door, throwing the ball down the field. Some underthrows. But Jaycee Horn literally going, nope, Jets, you're not winning this game. We don't care that our offense can't move the ball. Nope, I'm sticking my head up. You can't win. Derrick Brown, obviously, he's been so dominant, doesn't get enough credit. Where the coaching staff comes in, though, is a player like Chau Smith-Wade. A guy like Trevin Wallace. Young player, middle round pick. You have not been able to develop these types of players at all. Really, since Tepper has purchased the team. It's been years since the Panthers have been good at developing those types of middle round picks and getting bona fide starters. You're used to DJ Johnson. You're used to these guys that are out there because you need to play them, but they're not really making an impact. Chau Smith-Wade's been really good. He's done a lot of different things for you. Whether it's safety help in the nickel, he can even go outside. He did it all in college. He's done it at the pro level too. Trevin Wallace, he's running in the wrong direction week 1 and week 2. He is historically bad from a PFF perspective. And I know on this show we don't really get into those types of analytics. They're not all-encompassing. They're imperfect. We read between the play-by-play. We read between the tackles, so we do a lot. Not that PFF doesn't do that. It's just not just going to give you a number and turn the camera off. Trevin Wallace was historically bad week 1 and week 2. He stayed after hours. The coaching staff coached him up. Even Dan Morgan got involved. Maybe he gave him a scoop of pre-workout. Next thing you know, this guy looks like a bona fide inside linebacker. It's not perfect. It's not Fred Warner. You don't have Luke Kuechly. And I know Panthers fans have high standards for inside linebackers. I see people already throwing some names around in the comments of guys they should target. We'll talk about that more on Friday's program, where we visit all the comments. Trevin Wallace has paid the bills. Chau Smith-Wade has paid the bills. Even Nick Scott, who has been mimetic, is that a word? He's been a meme at points for this fan base. Even he is kind of figuring it out. I put that on the coaching. I put that on the collaboration of Canales and Evero. And down the stretch, you're going to need guys like Nick Scorton, Princely Umanmielen, Trevin Wallace, Chau Smith-Wade. You're going to need those guys to really step up. Let's focus on Nick Scorton. He had 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 quarterback hits against the Saints in week 10. This was a game a lot of people began to talk highly of Nick Scorton. For me, this was the game where, okay, you can see it in the snap counts, but you can also see it in terms of the headlines. This is your guy. And since that game, he has been your featured edge rusher. He's the guy they try to get one-on-one with the tackle, and they try to exploit matchups for him. Well, now Nick Scorton's going against the Saints starting tackles. He doesn't get to go against Dylan Raduns. I don't know how to say his name. I think that's what it is. The backup tackle in New Orleans. Now he's going against 2 first-round picks. Silently, the Saints are building an offense. 2 straight first-round tackles. Tyler Shuck is over there shucking it around. He's doing great. Shucking oysters. 2-3 in his last 5. 65% completion percentage. He looks great. Ran for 2 key touchdowns against the Bucs. Is Scorton going to step up? I'm going to talk more about the defense in a minute because I want to hit on this point. A lot more on the defense, specifically Princely Umanmielen, who has taken a step back. Yes, he's had some injuries, but his snap counts have plummeted. Where has he been? What are they doing with him? What's going on? We'll talk about him. You know what else I want to see from Dave Canales and this coaching staff is pass game consistency. It's a buzzword at this point. Consistency, pass game. It's all these people talk about. Well, are they even capable of doing it this year? You know what the difference between an A and an A+ for Dave Canales is? Figuring that out. Because I think a lot of it is out of their control. I think Bryce Young taking some sort of monumental leap in how he sees the field and his processing and his decision-making and his accuracy. In 4 games, how much more juice can you squeeze from that lemon? We're not talking about an off season to develop the quarterback. What I can see taking a step forward, though, is 1, the pass catchers. Is the time on task, is all that going to finally reveal itself? Is Bryce Young going to be on the same page with these receivers? Now that Canales isn't playing his guy, Xavier Legette, now that he isn't force-feeding Xavier Legette snaps, literally lining him up to get one-on-one matchups and have Young go over the top to Legette, who really they have not been able to hit that route all season aside from that play against the Falcons where Natrone Brooks got burnt by Legette for about 7 yards of separation for the Panthers' second-year wideout. Are the receivers and quarterback going to get marginally more on the same page? A long-term project, if they can figure this out, I would be very surprised. Can they have someone console Bryce Young on the sideline? Because it took me so long to really read between the lines of this, and I apologize for that. I apologize. Bryce Young always preaches ownership. He says something Dave preaches to us is ownership. Ownership? Why does Bryce Young feel he needs to take ownership? And yes, he's at fault sometimes. When he looks timid in the pocket and he lacks confidence. And I've done hours on that. Hours and hours and hours. As many of you know. I also feel there's a side of Bryce Young that feels he doesn't have the support network in place. In other words, you have Brad Idzik, who's the OC. That's pretty much the Amazon Alexa that you put in the kitchen to Dave Canales. He says what Dave says. He's Dave's guy. He comes from the Bucs. They have a relationship. They're buddy-buddy. It's the Amazon Alexa. Dave tells Brad what to do, and Brad gives him an automated response. It's not another voice. It's not a distinct voice. It is a projection of Dave Canales' mind. Not saying Brad Idzik isn't great and smart and all those things. He's just reciprocating the coach. And the coach is the problem. The coach and relationship with Bryce Young has been something that clearly there's some dissonance there. Well, then it's like, who's Will Herringer? He's your quarterback's coach. I haven't heard anything about this guy. He worked with Caleb Williams during his Heisman run at USC. Herringer was with Dallas in 2023. I believe that year Dak Prescott was a MVP runner-up. But you almost never see, and you see this all the time, I've noticed it in New England with Drake May, even a little bit in Chicago with Caleb Williams, where the quarterback makes a mistake, and instead of the quarterback throwing his helmet on the ground or whining, and that's the shot they show, the shot they show is another voice consoling the quarterback, coming over to the quarterback saying, here's the iPad, look, this will help you. Here's information. I'm going to put my arm around the quarterback and console the quarterback. Instead, every time they pan to the Panthers sideline, they show that beautiful physical therapist that they have on the sideline. I go, these people cannot take their eyes off her. It's always her. It's never Canales sitting down with Young. It's either Young having a meltdown, maybe Canales looking at his play sheet, or majoritively, it's 95% of the time, it's the physical therapist. I have seen more of her than I've seen football when I watch the Panthers. It's unbelievable. She's always in the shot. So maybe the camera person needs to rethink priorities, or they need to get a better shot, which is they need someone on the sideline consoling Young. I don't know what it is. Let's talk about this. Dave Canales on offensive identity. This is going to be key down the stretch. Here's the Panthers coach.
For me, it's a win is a win. Yards are yards. And that's what we want to come away from. But I do know I want to be able to run the ball in some way, shape, or form because I understand who we are as a team. Panthers football should look a certain way, and I want to make sure we come out of it playing the run well on defense and then on offense, making sure that we have Rico and Chuba have an opportunity to affect the game.
This is something I think Canales got criticized from, not from the fan base. He was criticized by fans, but I think internally. I think Daddy Tep. I think Tep sat him down and had a talk to him about this. That game against San Francisco Monday night, you go into half, you have 6 carries to Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. You're coming off a play, key play of the half, where it's 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Instead of calling a run, which would be intuitive, Canales calls a run-pass option, a throw for Young to build the quarterback's confidence. That to me was, wow, we really overthought this. We really overthought this. That was the low point of Dave Canales' play calling this season. It was. It's just 1st and goal from the 1. It doesn't get worse than that. One of the best running backs at falling forward, Rico Dowdle. I've never seen him lose yards. Honestly, I don't even think that's hyperbole. I seldom see him and specifically Hubbard in recent weeks lose yards. Especially in that Rams game. Hubbard was freaking awesome. There'd be guys in the backfield, Braden Fisk, some of those guys would be in the backfield, and he would just juke them out and get 2-3 yards. There were no yards to be had. I find it interesting, Canales says Panthers football should look a certain way. Well, many of you know this is run the ball, stop the run. That's not Canales' vision. That's John Fox. That's coaches of the past. That's coaches of the past. This team has a long history of doing that. And a long history specifically of having really good interior defensive linemen and really good running backs. Something that you have right now. Something that you're building right now. And I think Tepper's involved in this because I think Tepper looks at it like, look, I'm going to give you Turk Wharton. I'm going to give him a big contract. We paid $96 million to Derrick Brown. We're paying A'Shawn Robinson to be here. We're really paying good money for 3 interior defensive linemen who otherwise are household names, really good players. I think A'Shawn Robinson doesn't get enough credit. On the offensive side of the ball, we're paying Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, $150 million combined. We just paid Brady Christensen to bring him back here. We keep all the offensive linemen around. Austin Corbett, he's not leaving. Run the ball. Run the ball. We just extended Taylor Moton. And I think Tepper, who's not involved, he's been amazing. I think he had a little sit down with the coach saying, look, 6 carries in the first half against San Francisco is unacceptable. And down the stretch, Canales knows he should be optimistic about this. Run the dang ball. Commit to the run. Run the ball, stop the run. Run the ball, stop the run. Well, speak of the devil, David Tepper. Oh, this video is so great. This video is awesome. I'll just show you. Here's the Panthers owner.
Listen, it's pretty good. It's all building process. It's not that shabby. Listen, it's pretty good. It's all building process. And look, we'll see where we go. We'll see what happens. But we do think, as I said, Canales, Morgan, Gillis, and everybody here in the whole organization, I think we're building something special in Carolina. And we've been building it outside the community. We're building it on the field. So it's a total picture. And hopefully we can go on and we have that for many years here. And that's what we're going to do. It's not that shabby.
I freaking love Tepper. I'm telling you, if there's one owner in that league that I could drink a beer with, it'd be him. And I'm not just saying that because I like the Panthers. It'd be him. I think some of these other business mogul people, they're boring as hell. I think they're so boring and detached. These big, just billionaire business people. I think Tep is fun. You saw the videos of him in Germany. He's got the Das Boot. Das Boot! I think he was drinking out of Das Boot. If you know that movie, you're an awesome person. Big boot, you fill it with beer. He's drinking out of the Das Boot. He's freaking awesome. He's hilarious. I think he has a lot of fun. I love when they ask him about the season. He goes, it's not too shabby. It's almost like your rich friend pulling up with his new car. Look at this really expensive car that doubles my salary. It's not too shabby. And he's looking at his football team and he goes, it's not too shabby. It's pretty good. Which, I've said it, I'm not going to bore you with the storyline. How does Canales respond to this? It's not too shabby. Your efforts this year have been good. You've exceeded quota. You're the salesperson. You've exceeded quota. Are you going to keep trying to get sales? Are you going to keep reaching out to the clients? Are you going to cold call at 5:30 on a Friday and antagonize people to get a sale? Are you going to get rejected 100 times? Are you going to go Wolf of Wall Street to close this deal? Because Tepper's sitting there, he's smiling, he's having a good time. It's not too shabby. The result's been pretty good. And I think the way he even phrases it after that, it's a building process, which is good. I think this is all good for me and you, right? Long-term vision, viability of the franchise. This is good. He's not talking like he was in, 2022, where Tepper was almost like the friend that doesn't shut up. And Nicole's kind of giving him that look here like, Dave, don't say anything dumb. And he had a history of it. Whether he would foreshadow certain moves, he would just be way too honest, talk about how his decisions were backfiring or how they needed to do different things. And then you go and see it in the offseason when he trades picks for Sam Darnold, when he trades picks for Bryce Young, when he makes these huge, big decisions. And now I think he looks at it, he sits back in the recliner, he enjoys the team. And I think from our perspective, it's really good too, because it's like, you have a guy who's generally bought in. I think he has bought into the success of the team. You can't say that about all these owners. I won't name them specifically, but I can think of tons of them off the top of my head where across sports, it's just, they run it like it's a freaking Kmart. I can say Kmart because I don't think Kmart's in business anymore. But it's like, stock the inventory. Are we making profit? And they treat the whole thing without any heart and soul and passion, which is innate to football. I think Tepper's problem has never been that he wants to win. I think he's wanted to win a lot. He's just ran the franchise like he's playing Madden. Like he's your friend that doesn't know football playing Madden. And now I think he is trusting people. He's okay with the process. It's like stoicism. If you let thou be, thou shall flourish. If you just let things happen, if you let the flower grow and you don't try to give the flower steroids and rip the flower out of the ground, the flower will grow and flourish. I think he's finally treating his team that way. It's nice. It's great. But with all that, with an owner who might not be super urgent or adding urgency to win right now, how does Canales respond? And I think he's been saying all the right things. I think focus on the next game, championship mentality. What do we do from here? I think he's saying all the right things. Look, action speaks louder than words. We all know that. So let's see him put rubber to the road. Dave Canales. And you know why I think Tepper says it's not too shabby? Actually, let's talk about this first. Nicole Tepper in that video, she looks so upset. And I laugh at it because it's like, we've all been there. You know, you're talking and your girlfriend, spouse, wife, she looks at you and she blinks about 150 times in that video. A lot of people just listen to the program, but I'll describe the video. You have Tepper talking to Joe Person in the Panthers beat, Mike K and all. You have Nicole Tepper looking at David Tepper, and she blinks about 150 times. She's clearly like biting down on her, like you can tell there's a little bit of anger there. And I think some of it is like, it's this beautiful charity event, and you have Joe Person asking organizational questions. Like, can you give it a break, Panthers beat? Can you give it a freaking break? We're literally wrapping gifts at this beautiful Joy to the Carolinas event that the Tepper Foundation runs and that she actually oversees. She's part of the philanthropy generally at Panthers.com. It's a great, amazing event. All these players get together and wrap these gifts. And of course, the Panthers beat is asking questions. That's their job. It's their job. And then I also think she looks at Tepper and she's just like, Dave, we've been through this 100 million times. Don't give them ammunition. Just do not say something dumb. You've talked to the media once in the past year. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Back to his quote. David Tepper says Panthers results this year, not too shabby. Not too shabby. Tepper probably gives an amazing Christmas gift. He'd be someone to be friends with. You get a Rolex or something. You get a Christmas gift that you can never give him a gift as good as the one he gives you. Not too shabby, Tepper says about the Panthers season. It's a building process. This is good. This is good. What do you need to compete right now? What do you need to compete right now? What does Dave Canales need to do? Well, I teased it earlier. I said the defense needs to step up. And I don't underrate this. Chau Smith-Wade, Mike Jackson, Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom. Claude Cherilis even. He was great in replacement for Roseboom and Wallace. These are guys that have stepped up immensely for you. They have made big plays and big moments. Are you going to continue to get something out of those players? You're coming off the bye. You've been out for a while. But consistently, you have been able to make water into wine with that core of players. The crew aside from Jaycee Horn and Derrick Brown. Will that continue to lead the way? That's a narrative I'm looking for. Because you're not winning because you have the big, fast, strong, talented team. That's not why you're winning. I think you're winning because of coaching. These guys are smart. Chau Smith-Wade symbolizes that. He's not the biggest, fastest corner. In fact, a lot of teams passed on him because they didn't know if physically he could really transition to the NFL. Well, he's been a pretty good player for you, playing a pretty big role. The pass rush, I think, is going to need to get better. This is another problem that I don't know if he can fix until the offseason. I know a lot of people have floated some names around. I think if they're in position to draft a pass rusher in the first round, that's who they're going to take. I think even over linebacker. And ultimately, you know why? I think it's because you really only have one guy that you're comfortable with, and it's Nick Scorton. I think Wanham, he's a Band-Aid. Patrick Jones might come back in 2026, but another rotational player. Those aren't starters. Matt Mielin, you thought he'd be the fix, and he's been healthy down the stretch, but his snap count's going down. Week 10 against the Saints. Yamami got hurt in that game, injured the groin and the ankle late this season. Week 10, Yamami 22% of snaps. Week 11, 29. Week 12, 20%. Week 13, 6% of snaps. Now, this is really low, abysmally low, but you also have to account that the Panthers had a ton of defensive backs in the field. So naturally, snap counts went down for everyone else. I think Caleb Evans had like more than 50% of snaps that game. But also you have to look at this. Travis Gibson, this player that you poached from San Francisco, he was on the practice squad there, contributed a little bit, but was on the squad. You picked him up. He's playing more than Yamami. DJ Wonnum's playing a lot more than Yamami, almost double the playing time. So why are these guys on the field more than Yamami? And I know the obvious answer for many is like, well, he's a third-round pick. You drafted him knowing some of the physical limitations he'd have in the short term. He needs another offseason. He needs to get on the program. He needs to lift some weights. Do whatever else they do. He needs to do that. I think also another part of it, though, is I think this guy should be one of your better pass rushers. On third down, 3rd and 6, he should be in the game. It should be him and Scorton. So I'm interested to see where that goes. 6% of snaps for Princely Yamami against the Rams. He's been playing 25% of snaps or less over the past 4 weeks. Can he outplay DJ Wonnum and Travis Gibson, who I think are probably better against the run? That's why they're playing. It's that simple. Evero trusts them more. But maybe this is a guy that can give you a spark. Because ultimately, I think what you're seeing down the stretch with this Panthers team is that the talent isn't first-round talent. And we can poke fun of the Falcons and what they did. They got 2 first-round talents that are really good and really coming on. I think Jalen Walker and James Pierce. The Falcons, I think, are second in the league in sacks, maybe third. But both those guys, they didn't start out strong. And now they're really emerging as pass rushers. And I'm not saying that Scorton isn't a really good player that you have. I think he is. But you can see the discrepancies in talent. You certainly can. Between, especially Pierce, who I think is literally built like Optimus Prime. I mean, that guy is freaking amazing physically. Just prototype pass rusher. Let's talk about this really quick. And then I might have to bring this next point to the Friday show. I'm going to try not to, try to do it quick. Here is Bryce Young or Dave Canales on the quarterback.
I wanted to ask you, when Bryce is going good from a passing perspective, is there something you're seeing mechanically that maybe he's not doing as consistently in some of the games where we've seen struggles?
Really, it's been a group thing, and it starts up front, when the protection is right and the guys are where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, and he's on time, the thing works. And I've seen that chemistry continue to grow throughout this season, and we haven't had the consistency that I would like to see from the entire group. And, certainly Bryce is a part of that, and that's the challenge that we have in front of us, and that's what we've been attacking, for weeks now to find that. And, we had some really critical downs last week against the Rams, and we were able to come through because they were all on the same page, and that's what I see for this group, and I hope we take another step this week.
So this is what's at stake for Dave Canales down the stretch. Is he going to continue to be your play caller? Is Idzik going to stay around? Is your quarterback's coach going to stay around? He calls it a group effort, lumps the receivers in there. Rob Moore is another name I look at. He's the Panthers receivers coach, has been here since 2024. I think, honestly, the difference between them really winning out and making this postseason push or struggling down the stretch is what happens to those coaches. Rob Moore, Will Herringer, Brad Idzik. And I think ultimately, Canales says it himself there, we're not content with this passing game. We wish we were a little further along. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's pretty much what he said. Those coaches, what are they bringing to the table? That is the question they'll be asking this offseason. Rob Moore is an interesting name because he's not a Canales guy. And I know a lot of people are generalizing about the problem, rightfully so, which is Canales has his guys here. That's the problem. It's all his buddies. It's all an echo chamber for the Panthers coach. Well, Joe Gilbert, one, is his guy. And Joe Gilbert, I think, is one of the best offensive line coaches in the business right now. He is freaking awesome. He's Canales' guy from Tampa. Rob Moore, he's from the Titans. Rob Moore is, to my knowledge, has zero prior relationship with Dave Canales. He's coaching the receivers. Idzik is a Canales guy. Will Herringer, your quarterback's coach, no relationship with the Panthers head coach. It could just be the mix, and I think that's more so what it is. It's like, these guys have been here since 2024. If this pass game isn't more of a well-oiled machine, that is where you're going to have to allocate some resources. You're not changing the quarterback. I don't think Bryce Young is the type of quarterback that can succeed at a high level without everything being perfect around him. In other words, he's not Tom Brady. He's not Drake May. He's not one of these unicorns. Not Aaron Rodgers. If you want Young to be really good, you need perfect everything. Good O-line, great weapons, great coaching. I think there certainly is a problem there. I don't think it's as much play calling as much as it is he doesn't really have a voice. He doesn't have a distinct voice, the Panthers quarterback. I'm going to table my last point because I have a couple points here. I'm upset I can't get to all of them. And a weird comment from Dave Canales on the receiving core that I'm going to talk about a lot more on Friday. In addition to all the comments, it's going to be like ad lib. I'm going to try to get the clip involved into one of the comments, if not multiple comments. I'm excited for the Friday program. Very excited. This is the tone. David Tepper is going to get me an awesome birthday gift, rather Christmas gift, because he's the guy that I want buying my gifts. He's got enough money to do that. This is the tone.